Hello and welcome to the Peru Travel Podcast. I'm your host, David Kozlowski. Today, we're talking about the Inca Trail and what it costs to do the Inca Trail. And what's so great about today's episode is that we actually have done a ton of research. Kevin here has done a ton of research. He's got a breakdown of what you should expect to pay by doing the Inca Trail. And then on top of that, he actually's got some comparison in companies because we offer a lot of different things at Cachi that most companies don't. And I think there's a difference in terms of like where our mission standpoint is as to why we offer that. But at the same time, he's also going to be able to explain where those costs are going. Right. And yeah, man, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to talk about the Inca Trail.
And if you can't tell, he's the bearded bandit right now. Dude looks like a monster. He's got a lot. Like, you should put some feathers in his beard, maybe some flowers. Like, he's looking fancy. All right.
I forgot to comb it this morning, so it's all over the place.
That's right. We got people from Buenos Aires chiming in, by the way, right now. In case you guys don't know, on the podcast, we're actually streaming live on Facebook right now and on Instagram. People are checking it out. So if you haven't already, hit us up on Instagram, hit us up on Facebook, Cachi Life, and I guess let's just get into it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready to go.
Cool. So what is the biggest cost that you're seeing right now based on all the research as to why the Inca Trail is the price that it is?
So, I mean, every company has their base costs. A lot of different companies, they have some additional options that you can add if you're going to do the Inca Trail with them, such as, better sleeping mat, sleeping bag, if you want to add a porter or what they call in Peru chasquis. So there's a few different things. There's the Vista Dome train option versus the Expedition train option, which is a little bit cheaper. So yeah, there's a few different things. Every company is anywhere of the range from $650 roughly all the way, if you're going to go completely private. I mean, you can have $1,900 per person.
Sure. And when we're talking about private too, like, Cachi, we do private tours. All we do is private tours. I don't know if we advertise that well enough, but we do only private tours, $8.99 for the Inca Trail, which we've had some people reach out to us to say, why does it cost so much compared to everybody else? And it's actually not more expensive or as much expensive as people may think it is. And the reason for that is because we make sure that we include porters. And the reason for that is because if you don't have a porter, you're going to be miserable. We did the trail, obviously, a few years ago. When we did the trail, one of the issues that we ran into was we didn't get a porter. And about the second day, 70+% of the group actually ended up hiring a second porter.
Right.
And that may seem like, oh, I would never, I'm a tough man. And trust me, I came out the game like, hey, you know what? I'm fit. I don't need a porter. I'm going to carry my stuff because I'm a macho man. No, I'm not as good as the Peruvians that are killing it on the mountain every single day. So what ended up happening is I ended up getting an extra porter, but then we found out later on from our guide who we ended up partnering with that a lot of the times that this happens, a lot of the porters take on extra weight and they actually can't maintain that weight and get too heavy, can run into some problems. Right. And it's actually, there's a regulation that actually holds the weight down, basically keeping it below a specific number.
And you want to have that regulation there because you don't want to be wearing out these people who are trying to work,
Yeah. More sustainable, right? Like keep working forever rather than blow your knees out to make a quick extra $20. So,
and just to piggyback off of that, I mean, as David was saying, when we did the Inca Trail, the entire group, I think there was maybe one person that had hired a porter or a chasqui ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And by this, as you go along the way, there's chasquis you can hire day by day. And it's a lot more expensive when you hire them, the second, third, fourth day. And like you were saying, 70% of the group by the second day is hiring an additional porter because that first day is super flat.
Right.
It's easy. You're cruising along. You're like, oh man, this is going to be great. You hit the second day and it's up. It's just straight up and everyone ends up dropping weight.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we talk about the prices, let's get some comparisons out here of other businesses that do the Inca Trail. What do they cost and how are we comparing?
So as David said, we charge $8.99. But we do include a porter for everyone that's doing the Inca Trail with us, and that's the biggest driver of why we're a little bit higher with our base cost. So I looked at about 6-7 different companies or so, and like I said, you're ranging from $650 to base cost of looks like about $780. That's US dollars. Mm-hmm. And they are completely a la carte. None of them include a porter with their options. So for example, first company that I looked at, their base cost is $690. Pretty cheap, right? It's pretty good.
Absolutely.
But when you add in that extra porter, you're adding $100 on. So right there, you're all the way up to $790.
Okay.
Which we include. And then if you want to do the Vistadome train option, which is a little bit nicer train option, it's nice to, have a little bit of comfort, especially for trekking after 4 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're looking at adding an extra $90 onto that.
Okay.
So, you're up to right there, $880. And then we include a nice thermarest sleeping pad. And for that company, it's $35 extra dollars. So right there, you're at $915.
Yeah. Crazy. And then what about sleeping bag, trekking poles, single tent? Like what are the variances here?
Right. So most of the companies, you can rent those as well.
Mm-hmm.
For this company, it was $40 for a sleeping bag. We're charging $25 on that. And trekking poles, that company charges $20 and we're $15 on that. And the reason we don't include that with our offerings is because those are more kind of personal items.
Sure.
Like some people, they may not want to share a sleeping bag that somebody else has used.
The 692, is that a private tour as well, or?
Sorry, what's that?
Is the 690 where we talk about like adding the extra porter, is that a private?
Nope, that's totally group.
Totally group.
Yep, group offering.
Crazy. So, all right. Well, good to know. So basically, even if you added everything, the porter, the Vistadome, the sleeping pad, they're still, even as a group, are way higher than our original cost. Okay. Cool. What else we got here?
So took a look at another company, and we're just trying to give you the information. So there's another company that their base cost is $690. They do include a half porter for you, and they also do have trekking poles, which is great. You do got to be a little bit careful, as there's some other companies have their mission is to make sure that the porters are treated well, and they say it on their websites too.
Yeah, that's great.
A lot of times that even though they're cheaper, you may not actually be hiring an extra half porter. They might just thrown it on top of what the regular porter is already carrying.
But they're saying, but correct me if I'm wrong, though, you're saying that their mission, though, is to...
Nope. So this company, they may not be actually hiring that extra half porter. There's some other companies out there that are trying to make that apparent that this isn't actually happening.
Sure.
You're not hiring actually hiring a half porter. You're just throwing that extra weight on who's already working it.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. Just to make a couple bucks.
Yep. And then, they're cheaper. You get the half porter, you get the trekking poles, but then when you go to private service with them, they're all the way up to $1275 per person.
Crazy. Wow. Prices just keep going up. What do we got here for the, how many of these you got? How many do you want to go through?
So I did about 6 companies.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I just focus on the big companies.
Basically though, it's the same exact kind of process, right?
Yep. Same concept.
They kind of are drawing you in with that low price.
Yep.
Being like, hey, book with us.
Yep.
And you actually did some R&D, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Like you actually reached out and like chatted with a couple businesses to kind of get an idea of like what they were going to try to offer you.
Right.
And you came in, you wanted to do an Inca Trail, and then they were like, no, don't do that. Do this trip. And they were trying to navigate you to another one. What was that experience like?
So yeah, that was, so that's when I was like, hey, I want to do something like Haina Picchu after we get to Machu Picchu. And they were kind of pushing us to, rather than doing the 4-day trek, do the 5-day trek, which is significantly more expensive. I mean, you're going all the way up to $1,075.
Wow.
And with us, if you're going to add on Haina Picchu, we're at $899. You're only adding an extra $80.
Sure.
So, I mean,
a lot of numbers going on right now if everybody's like trying to keep track. So the idea here that we have to think about is that at the end of the day, you're going to spend money, right? It's just, it's inevitable. There's nothing that you can do about it. Then the process is like, how much do you care about having a great, comfortable experience that is very transparent? I mean, essentially we have a Southwest approach to the Inca Trail, and that is porters fly free. Okay. Like that's what we're going with.
Right.
But the idea is how much do you want to not only help people, but at the same time, like how comfortable do you want to be? And we kind of sort of try to take the best of both worlds and combine them to be able to say, hey, you know, we want you to have not only a great experience, have fun and be comfortable and enjoy your trip, but then at the same time help people along the way. And that's kind of the gateway drug, if you ask me, in terms of like volunteerism and things like that, of which we're pushing here coming up soon. Yeah, man, I think I've got a pretty good understanding. Basically, at the end of the day, even though the price seems low, do your due diligence, take some time and actually add a couple more things in there. Add what it is you want to, add what it is that you want. So aka a sleeping bag, aka a sleeping pad, so you're not sleeping on rocks. And maybe it's a private tour, maybe it's not a private tour. And then at the end of the day too, make sure that you have that half porter and see where that price gets you, because I promise you it's probably gonna be a lot higher than anything you've seen.
Right. And you know, like I was saying, you're almost guaranteed to hire a half porter once you're going through. So just do it ahead of time. And and
unless give me an example of somebody who might not need a half porter.
I mean, so I've got a lot of backpacking experience, and by the second day,
how much let's brag on Kev here. He's got the beard, he's got backpacking experience. This dude's just a monster.
Yeah, no, I've done quite a bit. You know, I see a lot of rock climbing.
What's the hardest one you've ever done? Getting off topic.
The hardest one I ever did was probably my very first backpacking experience.
Right, that's everybody's. Where was it?
We were going to Mount Sill up in the Eastern Sierra in California, and I was just wrecked. If I didn't have my trekking poles, I probably wouldn't have made it more than a quarter mile, and it was an 8-mile trek in.
And so what was Wamanu Valley? Well, for anybody who's listening to or keeps up, like I did Wamanu Valley as my first hiking experience, and I had a great experience. It was the worst ever in my entire life. I was miserable. What would you compare it to?
Inca Trail or
sorry, your experience to mine when I do Wamanu.
Oh no, it was the same. We were both destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was terrible.
All right, so if you've never hiked before, you definitely need to get a half porter, and we recommend probably doing a hike or two beforehand and make sure it's a multiple day hike. All right, so let's roll into then you've got this experience of backpacking.
Right.
Give me like the longest you had been out.
Longest I had ever been out before Inca Trail was 3 days, 2 nights.
Okay. And this is an experience. Would you say you did like every weekend for about a couple of years, or?
Not every weekend. I did it about every 3 weeks or so for 3-4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you got a pretty good grasp as to
and you know, like I said, we got on the Inca Trail. You're at elevation. You know, that's one factor playing into it. It's pretty steep that second day, and I was like, I can't do this. I need the half porter. So
wait, that was on the second day? I do remember me waking up being like, I am going to get this half porter. And I believe you said, oh, I think I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to gun it out. I'm going to try to move forward. I'm experienced.
Yep.
I'm a macho man. I've got a badass beard. And then all of a sudden he like wakes up and he's like, nope. Like, and hands down, walking up like Dead Woman's Pass or something like that would have just been brutal.
That's where I needed it.
Yeah.
Dead Woman's Pass.
Yeah, it's awful. So do yourself the favor. I would say train too. We're getting a little off, but like train a little bit ahead of time, and then obviously get the half porter. It's gonna be totally worth it.
Yeah, and like I said, with us, you know, you're getting the half porter. It's just a part of what you're getting.
Sure. Cool. Awesome. Anything else you got?
I don't think I have much of anything else. No.
And we'll be doing a cost breakdown of this as well. We'll create like an infographic and throw it up there so somebody can kind of see a rough estimate of what it should cost versus what you're paying. And full transparency. That's what we do. Transparency. Dude, we're stealing Southwest's lines right now. They're going to come after us. Let's hope not.
Yeah, seriously.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm David Kozlowski with the Peru Travel Podcast. Kevin Groh hanging out with us. And we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, take care.